In the latest video, I have said that the technique of Nucken is pretty obvious and it is already well interpreted, so there is no need to talk about it again. And in fact, later in the comments, I have found out that not everyone shares this opinion with me. And so I have decided to dedicate one video just to Nucken to reiterate my reasoning about it and explain it again and so on. And I am glad that I did, because thanks to this I have found an interesting piece of information that I wasn't aware of before, because there is a mistake in the image of 133, and it forced me to adjust my interpretation of Nucken a little bit. Not much, it was not a breaking adjustment, but it is clearly, well, Nucken is something a little bit different than I thought before. So let's look at it. Nucken is a technique that is mentioned only once in 133, but quite early, and it is the technique that is said, advised to do from a situation of binding above and on the left. So, for example, after successful mutatio gladi, I will get to the position of binding above and on the left, and from here I should do Nucken. That is the recommended action. And this is the only place in 133 where Nucken is used. The description of the technique doesn't give us much, but it is said that Nucken should be aimed at the head of the opponent and that it should produce a separation of sword and shield. So this is what we have, but in the following page there is one more image that is connected to the Nucken. It looks like this. And the text of this image tells us that if the one who is doing Nucken was like lazy, he was waiting or delaying his action, then he will be caught in grappling situation. So the Nucken should be done swiftly, but if it is not, you have a high chance of being caught in the grappling. And the image looks like this, and I believe the image is exactly showing the grappling situation that will arise if I am lazy with my Nucken. So these are all the information that we have. Now, what will we make of them? I would like to start with the separation of sword and shield. I have already talked about this phrase sometime before, but I will reiterate it because I believe it is important. So, the phrase separation of sword and shield is used 3 times at 3 places in 133. First is this Nucken play. The second is the play that, according to the text, I am pretty sure that I know what it is about. So, I am cutting half shield at my opponent, and what the opponent is doing is that he is in tempo cutting between my sword and shield to hit me. So, I will get hit and he won't, because he is protecting with the shield. So, it would go like this, and I am hit here. So this, I believe, is the play about. And the third place where separation of sword and shield is used is in the play of useful strike that separates sword and shield. And here we have even the image of how it looks, and we can clearly see the sword of like my sword between the sword and shield of the opponent. So, based on this information, I am pretty sure that the separation of sword and shield in fact means the idea of cutting or thrusting through the gap between the sword and shield of the opponent. It is like a phrase, like a maybe term that is used, and it always means this. Also, the play of Nucken seems to hint at the same thing, because if we look at the image of grappling situation that will arise from lazy Nucken, we can clearly see that the priest's sword is caught between the scholar's arms. So again, this will happen if I was cutting between his hands, between his weapons, and I was caught in there, between his arms. So the Nucken should start from binding above and on the left, and should go through the gap between the opponent's sword and shield to hit his head. That is what I'm gathering from the description of the action. So the starting situation is that I'm binding above and on the left, and now I know that I should separate sword and shield, so I should go through the gap between the sword and shield, and I have to strike the head of my opponent. So I can think only of two possible actions that would achieve it. First is a false edge strike, so I will go between the opponent's sword and shield and hit him to the head, like this. There is one possibility, and the second possibility is to do mostly the same cut but with a true edge. So I will strike like this with a true edge. Both is possible, both will achieve the same thing, and I can't think of any other action that would do the same. When I started my 133 interpretation, I was aware that Nucken was already interpreted by Federico Malaguti, who interpreted it as a false edge cut to the head. He didn't aim it through the gap between the sword and shield, but still it was a false edge cut. And I thought that this is a pretty good interpretation, because it made a lot of sense. Nucken should be something different than, say, half shield. It is a different thing because it has a different name. So there should be some difference, and to use the other edge of the sword, that is enough reason to give it a different name. Next, if I do my false edge cut, it will naturally aim up. So it is logical to aim my false edge cut to the head, which is exactly what the description of Nucken is talking about. So that is another point for this interpretation. So the idea of performing Nucken with the false edge has a very good logic to it. But the problem is that I have looked at the image of the grappling situation after lazy Nucken, and I have already developed my interpretation of the images. So I believe I can understand what the image is showing to us. And we can look at the image of the hand of the priest, the sword hand of the priest. We can see that the hand is showing its backside to the viewer. Now, 133 draws hands in only two possible rotations, either showing backside to the viewer, or like a finger side or palm side to the viewer. You will never see anything else. Only these two rotations are available. And the rotation of the hand is not always perfectly as it was in real life, but it will be close to as it was in real life. So if in the image we see the backside of the hand of the priest, it means that in the real life situation he had also his hand rotated so that he would be showing the backside to us. And this leads me to the idea, or led me to the idea of a true edge cut, because with a true edge cut to the head, I will show my backside of the hand to you. If it was a false edge cut, I will naturally show you the finger side, the palm side of the hand. So based on this image, this is more like fitting. So based on this fact, I have realized that Nucken cannot be a false edge cut because it wouldn't match the image, and it has to be a true edge cut. So I have decided on Nucken being a true edge cut, and in some of the latest videos I have always presented Nucken as a true edge cut. But after the latest video I have looked at the image of the grappling situation again, and I have realized that the hand position is wrong. And it is wrong even within the graphical style of the manuscript. This breaks the rule that the painters were following during painting. So this seems to be a painter's mistake. The hand can be, in the images, can be rotated weirdly in connection to the body, because the hand can be portrayed from a different point of view than the body is. So we may see a pretty twisted rotations of the arms and of hands if we look at it in connection with the rest of the figure. But the hand itself is always realistic. It is portrayed either fingers to the viewer or backside to the viewer, but this view is always realistic. But this is not the case of the hand here in this image of the right hand of the priest, because we can see that the hand is at the end of his right arm, but it is in fact a left hand, because it has the thumb on the other side of the palm than it should have it. So this image is wrong, and here's the problem, because I have based my interpretation of Nucken as true edge cut only on the position of the hand in this image, and this image is wrong. So I believe somebody made a mistake. I believe that maybe they wanted to draw the hand with this point, with this kind of thumb on this side, but with the fingers facing the viewer. But there was some mistake done, and they have drawn the priest two left hands. So there is clearly a mistake, and it means that I don't have any reason anymore to consider Nucken a true edge cut. So here I am reverting back to the idea of Nucken being a false edge cut, because it makes more sense, as I have said before. It doesn't change much. In my interpretation, Nucken will still work the same way. It is still aimed between the sword and shield. It is still used from the same situation. It is still a quick strike that is faster than a Stichschlag and whatever, but it will be performed slightly differently. I have to say that Nucken with a true edge worked. It worked pretty well in sparring. I have pulled it off several times, and it works. It can really take advantage of the small gap that the opponent is doing between the sword and shield, which is great. But I have also to say that the true edge Nucken naturally hits the opponent's forearm and not his head, so there was the difference. And I believe with false edge Nucken we will get more to the head strikes that are mentioned in the manuscript. So this is my interpretation of Nucken, and well, that's it.